me just tell you that very patiently, Boston, yeah, Brother Dave is here. Thank you so much for joining. And before I pass it on to you, I have to introduce the audience to about you. So, Brother Dave is joining us for the first time. And as all of you know, his name is Dev, which is a deity, very sweet. And also, if I can tell you his surname, it's a difficult one, a tongue twister, Linga Devaru. There's another Dev in that. So ignore that difficult spelling, but he's double Dev. And if I can speak about him, I know him personally having met him in May. He's a Rajogi for the last 35 years now. And he came into Brahma Kumaris when he was just a very young student back in India, in Bangalore, where he was studying software engineering. And he says that he's not only learned this art of meditation, but also makes it very easy for others to learn and experience. So I'm sure there are many new people who have joined here and who feel a little bit tough in their experience. There you have an experienced Rajogi for us. And he teaches and facilitates workshops in many topics, to name a few: positive thinking, managing stress, so on and so forth. And right now, he is a software engineer working at one of the leading financial institutions in Boston. And I mean, he's basically very Indian at heart, raised in Bangalore, Karnataka. And as always, we have a sweet poem to offer to all our guest speakers. So let me just begin. So being instrumental for serving in Boston at the 7577 Common Street, I hope this address is correct, whether they'll correct me later if I'm wrong. At the Common Street, he's the chosen one of the divine because he's indeed so sweet. Every now and then he posts meditation as his tweet. That's because it's the only way through which God we can meet. On this life journey, people may ill-treat or mistreat, but let me, with all of them, have an inner smile to greet. Let weakness be my slave and under my mighty feet, and let me have good wishes for everyone, whoever I meet. Finally, on our spiritual journey, let all of us have an intense fleet and stay well seated firmly on the soul conscious seat. So with this, I welcome you, Brother Dev, once again. And the stage is all yours. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Dr. Manoj. That's very sweet of you to write a poem and introduce. And Om Shanti to everyone. I'm joining you from Boston, Massachusetts, USA. The time here is 11 a.m. So for those of us who are on the Eastern time zone, West Coast, good morning. And those of you in the perhaps UK, Africa, good afternoon. And those in India, good evening. And happy Ganesh Chaturthi for those of you who are celebrating that today. We didn't hear any noise because Zoom has a very nice feature of noise cancellation. So you're good. So I was hearing pretty much everything from the beginning. I was actually quite inspired by the sharings that all of you did. And I was just wondering, well, is there anything more to share after having heard all of those things? So then I thought perhaps my duty is to actually kind of put things in a flow in the way I have experienced it in my own words. So what I would like to do, if it's okay, let's just take 5 minutes, kind of go into some sort of a reflection and contemplation so that we can prepare our mind to be all together and be on that same platform, as we say, and experience our togetherness for the next 45 minutes or so. So I invite you just to sit back. If you have pen, paper, just drop all of them. If you have devices in your hand, just put them away just for a few minutes. And let this body be totally relaxed and comfortable. Let the feet touch the floor. and your hands resting on the lap, your back resting against the chair, and your shoulders dropping any tension from them. Let the body be completely relaxed so that it doesn't pull my mind's attention. And as this body sits quietly, slowly and gradually, I acknowledge the presence of everything around me. It could be the noise, people, things, just becoming aware of them and acknowledging their presence. And now, further withdrawing my attention from everything and going inward, unplugging the flow of thoughts from my mind of the things connected to the outer world, and tapping into the resources in the inner world. On the screen of my mind, let me picture myself as that luminous being radiating many values. And one such value is sweetness. Within me, the luminous being, I am radiating the value of sweetness in a natural way. It is just like breathing in a natural way, the flow of blood in my body in a natural way. I, the luminous being, am radiating the virtue, value of sweetness around me. And I also experience everyone around me, physically or virtually, radiating the similar value, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And I transcend in this gathering, radiating the virtue of sweetness. I am in this energy field beyond the physical plane, in the subtle reality where each one of us is radiating sweetness. And now gently becoming present here in the physical realm, whilst maintaining the awareness of that inner luminous being. Om Shanti. So it was shared earlier in one of the points that, in fact, the virtue of sweetness is not so easy to express. There are some virtues or values we express just by being the way we are. Some we express through our words. Some we express by the way of our actions. And some just by our attitude. And there are some which are expressed in all of the above ways. Just yesterday, someone forwarded to me a short video song of Sri Krishna, because it was Krishna Janmashtami, for those of you who are familiar with this holiday, 2 weeks ago. And that this video said about Sri Krishna, how, the song goes, just a line of it is in Sanskrit, the song is, it says, Adharam Maduram, Vadanam Maduram, Nayanam Maduram, meaning that, his lips, his eyes, his face, his activity, everything is sweet. And I felt, oh, this is quite timely for me that I'm hearing this song, because I can't remember hearing that before. I kind of vaguely remembered something of that kind, but I had not heard it. But yesterday I heard it, and that kind of made me feel this very nice. And I have been reflecting on it, actually, irrespective of this workshop today, that just even visualizing a personality, so there it is depicted, attributed to the deity, in that case it's Sri Krishna, but I just actually visualizing how wonderful it will be for everyone in our lives, whoever we interact with, if all of us actually radiate this sweetness in the way we speak, in the way we are, in the way we look, in the way we do. And that's what people will remember, right? Earlier, I was hearing how one sister made the brother feel when she offered a cup of chai in the morning. So the sweet memories are left behind when we actually encounter a sweet action. So we all indeed have this virtue, whether we believe it or not, whether we actually express it or not. Um, we heard also from Dr. Mehta, I think, about little children, or somebody else, I can't remember now, how they actually are naturally sweet, right? One of the beautiful things where we find in the little children is their sweetness. I find that in the little children, majority, right, 90%, everybody admires children, because that's one beautiful quality that stands out in them, is the virtue of sweetness. And kind of we also find that to be more obvious, like the little children, maybe not that much percentage, but also in the very elderly people. They're like almost like the two ends of the spectrum, right? You find them to be very sweet in natural way. So let's talk about the children, where children exhibit that sweetness in them. And that's what we all kind of feel the pull towards them. But if you think about it, why? What is so in them that the sweetness is so natural in them? And I believe that sweetness actually comes from this quality of purity. Purity is a very loaded word because there are so many aspects of purity, right? So, but in connection with sweetness, the way I define purity is it's a state of mind where we don't harbor any ill feelings towards anyone or anything. So purity is a state of mind where we don't harbor, meaning we don't hold, we don't, keep the accountability, all of those things. We don't harbor any ill feelings towards anyone. And that's the state of purity, which allows the sweetness to naturally flow in various aspects of our life. Now, little children have this nature. Fortunately, they have a very feeble memory, right? Like they're very much in the present. Yes, as they grow, of course, they develop that, but at a very young age, like as a toddlers or young babies, that they don't harbor anything. They're just who they are. And that's one of the reasons why we find them to be very, very sweet, because the inner world, their mind is, pure. There are no memories that are actually used to respond, to react with the outer world. So now we all are children at some point in our lives, right? So that means we all expressed it at some point in our life when we were young. And so what's wrong today? That we lost it. It's the reality of life as well, that some of us have it in a natural way as we grew also, but some of us have lost it because various situations in life, people have mistreated us, people have deceived us, we have been threatened. So in whatever way, and all of this does not have to be in a very big way, it could be in a very small setting also, how we kind of are made to feel insecure, made to feel, I need to do something else now, kind of leave my natural, in the mode of survival. We lose this virtue of sweetness, right? In the journey of our life, we are all subject to these things, and we try to survive. Meaning survive here, meaning not necessarily physical threat. Even that, it could be as simple as, in a setting of few people, in a raising of the family, how the siblings are compared, and how you react and respond to the situations. You're in the mode of surviving, meaning protecting yourself. You might lose that innate nature of sweetness. So first thing is to deeply embrace, believe that sweetness is actually my innate nature. If the child can express, I can express it, because at some point I was that. And also to embrace that, yes, knowingly, unknowingly, various encounters that I have done in my life, tough ones or not so easy ones, all those things have led me to be what I am today. And so I have lost that inner beauty within me. You see, when we become aware, when we know, then we know what to do. If I don't know, then actually I don't know what to do. So knowing this helps us to regain back what we lost. And going back to this point about harboring the ill feelings, it's so easy for these kinds of impressions to be formed in our mind. here in Boston, for example, the winter could be quite harsh, especially in all the northern hemisphere countries. The winter could be very harsh. In here, I have been living here since last 23 years, and I have seen some really, really harsh winter times. And they say, like, especially in January, February, that it's so cold that if you walk, usually we all dress up, right? You wear the coat, you wear all those things, but still there are some parts of the body, like the hands, your fingers, or your toes, or even nose, right? Where if they are exposed, if you're left exposed for a few minutes, sometimes it's 10 minutes, then you develop frostbite. And frostbite means it's like you develop the numbness, you can't feel, and it damages the tissue and the skin and all those things. Very quick. It would be so cold that with the wind chill factor, it would be like -20, -30, sometimes it could be -60. It could be like that. And in that, if you kind of quite dangerous it is. So the deformities or the damage to the tissues and the cells could happen rather very quickly. And even the water could freezes rather quickly. Now, why I'm giving this example, that our impressions, especially the negative ones, ill feelings, positive ones also, but if I have a tendency for the negative, then those more quickly, that they get formed rather quickly, just like the frostbite. It damages my heart rather quickly. That any interaction with others that may not be a good one, a tough one, especially in close relationships, family, work, wherever, the ill feelings, the treatment that I receive from others that may not be so nice, we quickly form an opinion or kind of, perceive them based on their reactions, and that just sits in our mind. It's like I have formed an opinion and an ill feeling has been developed within me. Now, if I don't do anything, just like the frostbite, if I don't take care of it quickly, it could permanently damage my skin. So same thing here also, the ill feelings, if I don't take care of them quickly, then I could actually, develop those sort of impressions. And if they repeat, they become on my sanskars, my nature. That's kind of how I always look at other person or people, and it will become my sanskar, my kind of nature. So it's important that I recognize, and I'll be honest with you, we all have this nature of, so there is somebody who would be a villain in our lives. Right? We can't say there is nobody. I'm sure there is going to be someone. And this is the honesty with ourselves, right? Because there would be somebody. That means if there is nobody, okay, we would be perfect and we would be at a different level. Okay, so there is some aspects within me that are triggered and touched by somebody, and we call them as a villain. In fact, they're not really villain. They're another person. They're another sweet being. But because that sort of energy is being invoked from within me, we're calling them as a villain. So there will be somebody, there will be situations like this. So what do I have to do? The point here is that, all right, we know that we could have ill feelings and we may have ill feelings, and these ill feelings stop us from radiating our natural energy of sweetness. So in the Brahma Kumaris, we have a very beautiful, there are many beautiful things, and this is one of the beautiful things that I find, many of you, I heard, like all the regular students, that we are students lifelong, right? Even the eldest member of the family here in the Brahma Kumari, the chief of the Brahma Kumari, Dadiratan Mohini, who's reaching her 100 years soon, she's also a student. And 5-year-old kid who is a child of a BK parent who have come to Gyan recently also says, Om Shanti, I'm a soul. That one is also a student. So all range of people with different ages, everybody is a student trying to learn something every day. And so one of the beautiful teachings that we are taught here is that every day, at the end of the day, take time to reflect on how your day went. What did you do? Did you hurt somebody or did someone hurt you? Did you give happiness to somebody or you give sorrow to somebody? Whatever those questions that I want to ask myself. But the study says that check yourself and change. So at the end of the day, what's important is that for me to see, am I actually affected today by any of the interactions that went through in my life today? And am harboring any ill feelings towards anyone? And let's say if you do, something happened, and so best thing is to try to come to terms with it the same day and not carry it over to the next day. Yeah, because like, not sure how it is these days, definitely not here in the West, but before, the milk used to be milk from the cow in the morning, and we would bring it home. It would be boiled the same day, and no refrigerators, and we would use it. And at the end of the day, you have to empty the milk pot, wash it so that the fresh milk can be put the next day. If you don't wash it and you put the new milk in the same pot, the new milk will also be split. It will be spoiled. It won't be usable anymore. So likewise, our intellect, our memory bank, our mind actually is like this, like a pot, right? So we have to clean it every night. And this process of cleaning is this, that I look at my day and clear any ill feelings that I may have developed or held, to let it go. And it may not be easy. I acknowledge that it has happened to me many times. I kind of sleep with it. But what I have to tell myself is that I know I had to work on this, but I had to kind of, for my own benefit, I had to kind of let it go, forgive, and make a conscious effort to not get into such a feeling once more. So, meaning to say, you have to address it. Don't just let it remain in your heart, because if you do that, then more and more ill feelings develop, and you will kind of form an opinion, an impression, and that virtue of beauty, sweetness within you would become dormant. It's almost like clouded. These experiences cloud our mind so that inner light won't be radiating outside. So this one teaching, that to clear at the end of the day, to clear, any ill feelings that kind of was formed during the day. And to support this, another thing that we learn here is that, well, there is some benefit in the things that happen to you. Why not kind of embrace that? Yes, things may not be happening in my favor. Things, might not look as good in the way I see them today, but I don't know what the future holds. So there may be something in the future, and that's why it is happening today, or I don't know what the past was. So past and the future, I don't know. So there is something happening today. So having this feeling that, okay, there may be something, there is a reason why this is happening. And so leaving it to that uncertainty, meaning a good uncertainty is I don't know what it is, but knowing that there is some benefit in it. And so the human mind is, if I see there is some benefit, some profit, something good for me, we are actually very easy and relaxed. Right? That's kind of how our mind actually works. If I find there is something good for me, then I'm actually quite um, easy and peaceful and not think too much about it. So let this feeling come out like, no, there is some benefit in this, and I can trust that and um, not get caught up in what has happened. So I just wanted to say that about not harboring the ill feelings, because that's one of the main reasons I feel that's an aspect of purity, I feel, which does not allow us to be our natural self, which is to be that sweet, like a little child. Now, I want to actually share, and like I said earlier, patience. Okay, for example, we know it's what to do. um you know Pace, we know. Okay, love, okay, yes, kind of we understand, but the sweetness is kind of not as obvious many times. I can't fake it actually. Right, like earlier somebody said about artificial sweeteners, we know how they taste. It can't be jaggery, it won't taste like a jaggery or sugar cane or even honey. So talking about honey, I was looking up on the Google the other day about um, what they mean by sweetness. And in here in the West, probably in other places as well, we use this expression, oh, you are sweeter than honey. Yeah, you may have heard this. Oh, you are, she or he is sweeter than honey. So what they really mean is that just like honey is quite nourishing and makes you feel, gives a good sweet feeling. So in the same way, a person could be kind, pleasant, and could give that feeling of nourishment in the company when you're in that person's company. So if you are sweet, it means that you are pleasant, you're kind, and that you're giving the feeling of, sweetness like honey to other people around you. So I was thinking, okay, what are the different ways we could actually express sweetness? Like one is, yes, it's naturally within, like a child, and it comes out without even me doing anything. But knowing that kind of in the journey of life, it has subsided, or we have, it has become dormant, I need to do something to activate that. So I came up with 6 expressions of sweetness. There may be more based on today's discussion that I was hearing, but I thought it sometimes is easier to remember the number that is simple like 6. So I came up with these 6 expressions of sweetness. And one of them, the first one is, being thoughtful. A person who is sweet is very thoughtful. Like this sharing earlier today, that teacher thought about it. Oh, this person has come early today. He must be feeling tired, or he must be cold. Let me offer him a cup of chai. That's thoughtful, meaning you took time to think about the well being of the other person. In the fast paced world today, how many of us actually take time to think about something good for others? It's very seldom. Like everybody's trying to go from meeting to meeting, catching the traffic, getting to the work, or parents especially taking the children from one activity to the other activity. It's like life is super busy. So taking time to actually express, show to others, again in a natural way, you can't be faking anything. It has to become a natural part of you, that being thoughtful. For me recently, um, I celebrate my birthday in August, and one of our senior yogis here also celebrates her birthday in August. So every year it has been my tradition to actually go and spend some time and celebrate my birthday with in the presence of her and other yogis company. And this year it so happened that she was not in the country here. She had to travel to other place for seva service. So I knew it won't happen this year. And okay, it's part of life. It's good. There is no problem. But then one day I got a call saying that, oh, uh, this is Rakhi Day on the 30th of, August. Uh, would you like to come and be part of us for the Rakhi program? And also you can celebrate your birthday like you normally do. You see, I had no expectation, right? I had already said, okay, this year it's not possible because they're traveling. But they thought it through, and and they called me. I felt that to be, yeah, what would you say? Was it loving? Is it caring? No, I felt that to be very sweet. It's a somebody is thinking or thoughtful to make you feel special. In this day and age, yes, we are learning spirituality, and so we're able to express these things. But in a world where things have become so unnatural, like we have to say thank you for everything here. Now, whether even if you feel it or not, if somebody asks you how are you doing, I have to say I'm good, I'm good. Whether I'm feeling good or not inside, that's a different story. Like it has become so robotic or autopilot mode. We just kind of have learned the words to say that are good, but I may not be actually feeling that inside. But it is so important that I take time to be thoughtful of somebody, making a difference for them. And that's how you can actually express sweetness. So think about in your own life, in your family, it could be in your work, that you thought about someone. Again, it has to be genuine. It can't be, we all know that it can't be out of any expectation that I'm thinking about them so that I want to share something with them, make them feel different. So that's being thoughtful, expression of sweetness. Second one is, now this is interesting, it is spontaneity or being spontaneous, right? This is something that you find in the little children, how they actually, if you give them a toy, like they're so spontaneous how they behave with the toy, right? And it's very cute to actually observe that. So as adults, spontaneity is for us, it's almost like being adaptable, like you're able to go with the flow of life as it comes, right? Not stuck with the things. Like you can't say, oh, well, I planned the whole day, I structured my day, this was my plan, but now you're asking me to do this. Come on, I can't do it. So that's not being spontaneous. That's being, so programmed. Sometimes we just had to be kind of going the flow of life. And that's where you're allowing something that you didn't plan to emerge. And you have the probability of your innate nature of that inner beauty, that inner sweetness emerging. And we see this, right? Like you will discover this in yourself. Oh, I thought I couldn't do it. I did it. And others, like just imagine, right? Like you're in a gathering and somebody asks you to sing a song. You never sang a song. Instantly, you'll feel shy. But when you sing something, whatever, how others feel? They're like, oh, that's so sweet. You're able to sing a song. Isn't it? Like you must have experienced this. So that spontaneity is very good. And it's another way for us to, share that inner beauty, that sweetness that we carry within ourselves. So be open to situations that come where you didn't expect them to be, but it is actually encouraging you to be spontaneous, and something beautiful emerge from within, and that's with the virtue of sweetness. And the third is, it was mentioned earlier, that is innocence, right? Being innocent and or innocence. And again, beautiful thing, a lot of us have this very, very beautiful quality of innocence. But I must say that all the technology and the information and all the things that is available today is actually robbing away our innocence. So much of information, and we are hooked into that. I want to know what happened, why this, why that, and you something you didn't know, and you want to know that, or like it's really becoming so bad that everything is driven by it. Yes, I mean, I'm in the information technology. Okay, don't get me wrong. I mean, I have to study so much and my work is like that. But there is something that where we had to draw the line. Look, this is enough. You know, more I consume, more I hold the things inside, more I learn the things that I don't need to know, lesser I'm becoming innocent. And that in turn impacting my sweetness. Innocence naturally radiates sweetness. You must have experienced with your parents, for example, right? They're innocent on something that you do, and you find them to be so sweet, like, oh, they don't know I know something. Right? Like they're like, if you give them, if they're not so uh, gadget oriented of the gadgets today, like, you should look at their behavior, how they behave with all the things that you for you it's so easy. So their innocence comes out as so, a natural expression of sweetness. So we do have this quality, and our um, attractions to this information and the things and the social media can actually rob our innocence. So I would urge to be cautious on this and really be disciplined, because we have to live with it. I understand, because we have to use it for our, communications. We have to use it in our service projects. We have to use it in our job, perhaps, or social networking. But everybody has a way where they can actually draw the line, saying, no, this is good. This is it, not more than this, so that you protect yourself. Okay, so then the fourth one is, which is the most obvious one that most of us feel, is through our words, the way we speak. Yeah, the words create the world. How my words should be. Should be, we say, soft, sweet, gentle, meaningful. Right? The words should be meaningful. So something to think about, actually, why certain times I say things that I didn't mean to say, or why certain times I speak in a way that is so bitter. Right? I'm sure most of us have come across these feelings that I would have said something like, really, why was I so mean? Or why she or he is so mean? So opposite of sweetness is being mean, being bitter. Meaning, I'm really coming from this place of selfishness. And again, it connects back to my what I'm holding inside. What's inside is what's coming out through my words. Words is really the last step of my communication. There is so much more that's happening behind the scenes. So if I make a conscious choice, you know what? It doesn't matter what's inside me, but I want to at least speak in a way that is pleasant for others. Yes, respect is part of that, but being pleasant is something different, meaning others want to hear you. They don't want to block their ears. Your pleasant way of speaking makes them open up and they want to hear you. Have you heard sometimes you want to try to prove your point? They're not going to hear you because I'm trying to prove my point. By being pleasant, you're out of respect, out of sweetness, that words are coming. They're more open to hearing you. So paying attention to how I speak, yeah? Being pleasant, kind, meaning the words are kind, full of kindness, being kind. And yes, of course, respect is part of that. But my words are giving them this feeling of, having the honey or eating the toli, consuming that is making them feel good inside. So those are the words we want to actually be speaking. And we all can do this. It's not, sometimes we say, we say in a being conscious of the gender, we say sometimes like, okay, a woman would speak kind of with mellow, sweet, sad, quiet voice, and a man would speak in a loud voice. No, that's just, we have, kind of made it like that. But actually, everyone, man, woman, each one being a spiritual being, can actually, be that gentle and sweet, in which you give the others experience through your words. And the fifth one is, and this is something very special in the Brahma Kumaris, is through our drishti. Through our drishti, which is through our eyes, through our vision, how we look at others. Isn't it? I don't know about you, but for me, one of the things I really enjoy when I meet the yogis, when I meet other people who are spiritually inclined, is looking at their eyes. These eyes have so much in them, such beauty, such sweetness in them, because again, it's coming from that place of purity, right? So if these eyes are actually driven by our attitude, right? In Hindi we say vritti and drishti. So my vritti is influencing my drishti, how I look. If I'm looking at the other person with a critical vision of, hey, you have done this mistake, or like, oh, you said this to me the other day, or even my own self, oh, I did this mistake the other day. Any of these things. If my drishti holds that attitude of something of the past, I can't be giving that feeling to other people. So try this, right? Look at the people, look at their eyes, and let your eyes radiate this feeling of safety for them. Let your eyes not be of judgmental. And whenever I'm judging somebody, it's very clear in my eyes, the way I look at others. They may not be able to put into words, but they won't feel that sweetness from you. So if I'm conscious, this is one of the channels, the eyes, through which I radiate my sweetness. Then I can look others with that beautiful, sweet drishti. And our senior sisters and brothers are, through their drishti, make us all feel this. Why? I don't think they were always like that. I'm sure they have gone through the journey to become that. So they practiced, they developed, and they're giving that experience to us. We can do the same thing in turn. Yeah. So paying attention to our eyes. And lastly, through our smile. Right? We say it's a sweet smile. That these smile, sometimes we forget to smile, and I do that people had to tell me many times, oh, why are you so serious? I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm very serious. I had to really remember to smile. So this smile gives that feeling of, again, as I said, the sweetness virtue is not like you can't fake it, and it's not just okay, let me be sweet now. You can't. It has to come through these different ways, expressions, and smile is one of them. And so if I am, you know, in that pure state of consciousness where my mind is in that reality of my true self, then, you know, naturally I'll be smiling. Mm. Naturally, there is that smiling, not like laughing. I mean, like it's like you have this on your face that others feel that, you know, sense of lightness and cheerfulness from you. And that's what gives them a feeling of sweetness through your smile, like a sweet smile. I want to also just say that the, you know, the founder of the Brahma Kumaris, Brahma Baba, it was also shared earlier that how even though he knew that not all of us actually have become that sweet, but he addressed everyone as being sweet. Why? Because that's the way he was invoking that sweetness within us. And so his connection to God, whom we understand is like an ocean of sweetness, we all can connect to that source. You see, irrespective of any spiritual path, any religion, anywhere, right? People actually have, yes, you know, especially in the West here of late, you know, for all the wrongdoings that people have done, there is kind of people shy away from the expression of God, right? But internally, if you kind of remove all of those things, internally, everybody feels, you know, fond memories or sweet memories, knowingly, unknowingly. They may not even have a conscious memory, right? But there is something intuitive inside that gives you a feeling of comfort when remembering God. Why? Because that one always only sees goodness within us. That's why we feel comfortable in remembering or reaching out or connecting to that one. So if you and me being God's children, you and me being, you know, coming from the same source, if we can create the same energy, then others also would have those sweet feelings for us. So the work is on my side, how to develop that sweetness and quality. And it's not an overnight job. We also had to acknowledge this. This is something that I had to kind of work on myself on a regular basis so that, you know, it becomes part of me, right? It's like, you know, going to the gym and trying to build my muscles slowly, slowly. The developing the virtues also is like that, developing the virtues slowly, slowly. So these are the 6 ways. I know I have kind of shared whatever you have actually shared before, but in my own words. But I must say that when I knew I had to share on this particular topic, I thought, okay, let me consciously practice this before I say, because I can't be speaking if I don't practice myself. And so I'll be honest with you, it was not easy in some situations, especially where, you know, you're interacting with the people who are not sweet with you, let alone being sweet, who are not respectful, who are bombarding with things, demanding all those things. So I felt, and I had consciously made this choice, no matter what, I'm going to be sweet. Okay. So I felt at the time that before being sweet, I also had to be patient because I had to let all that energy come through, and then I can respond sweetly, and all that energy that I should not be holding inside, because if I'm holding inside, then it won't be natural sweetness. It will be really faking it. So that's why I'm saying it's a work in progress, meaning we had to make effort on it. But we can do it. It really, really makes you feel so good if you maintain your sweetness and share that irrespective of what other people are like. So with that, I want to stop, and I hope it made some sense, whatever was shared. And if there are anything that you want to share or add, please do so.
So, sure, thank you so much. I don't know, is it me echoing or it's someone else? Right. Okay, so I just want to let you know that there is something in the land of Boston, Massachusetts, because fortnight ago, when Sister Rita was speaking on the virtue of or value of lightness, she just gave me a shock few hours ago saying, I can't do lightness, Manoj. I said, why? What happened? So she said, no, I'm not able to experience lightness. There is something has come up. And then you also have shared the same experience that, yeah, so see, I mean, that's what I like. You all are very genuine and honest about your feelings. And though someone is speaking about that value, it doesn't mean 24/7 we are exuding that, but we are again all work in progress. So very wonderful 6 simple takeaway messages which you gave us. And I'm sure everyone has enjoyed that. A lot of meaning in that, very small, small things. So I would now request our seniors, Dr. Ashok Mehta and Sister Claudia, both to propose the vote of thanks to both of you.
Thank you, Devbhai. With such the sweetness is actually emanating from you. Every word that you have spoken, it had a genuine feeling of sweetness. I from a long distance, I can feel it. I think it's a beautiful talk. And I like you took to something called a frostbite and a negative feeling. I think that's you brought medicine in. I was wondering whether you had a medical background to talk about a frostbite. When you talked about frostbite, it took me back to my early days as a surgical trainee. That was the time 60s. We had a war with China. I mean, China had invaded India, and our soldiers suffered severe frostbites because we were not prepared to fight at the heights where the temperatures were very low, like 20, 30, minus 40, minus 60. And I think frostbite and negative feelings may be identical. Thank you very much for bringing in that very unique comparison between the physical and these witnesses. Thank you once again for a beautiful talk that you gave.
Thank
I
you, Bhai.
remember my first visit to Boston, that Sister Sharona was in charge of the Boston Center way back in 92 or so. And now, of course, she is in, Sister Sharona is now in
Israel.
In Tel Aviv. So thank you very much. Really enjoyed. And Boston, of course, is famous for the teachings of mind-body medicine.
Right.
Her who was the pioneer of mind-body medicine. Again, he also talked about the Tibetan monks, Buddhist monks, going right on the top, 15,000 square feet, at 15,000 feet high, and dropping all the clothes and sitting for almost hours in meditation without a frostbite. And he said, you can't stand that kind of a temperature even for 20 seconds. And therefore, the importance of meditation, bringing up the temperature, I think that was unique. So you are in, you are in Boston. We had a delegation and we were received by the Indian medical diaspora in Boston. And I felt that Boston, Cambridge, especially that area, was like Varanasi in America. It's the Varanasi of India.
Thank
You
you.
very much.
Please come back to Boston once again.
Yeah, beautiful. So thank you. It was fun listening to you.
Shanti, Brother Lev, it was so nice to hear from you. Like I like when Dr. Ashok Mehta talk about the frostbite. I was also like, because by feeling, the experience. And it's right, when the ill feeling comes to the soul, it becomes like a frostbite. It finish the feelings between two souls. And also, I quite like it when you are talking about the sweetness, what it means. Especially, I like the point when you say that we have to be innocent, because that's what I'm trying to reach myself on that point. Because when you are innocent, you are like a child. Whatever they tell you, you're just innocent. You don't get your mind too much involved, whatever they do. So I quite like when you went through all the points, be thoughtful, be innocent, your drishti. So it was very meaningful. And thank you very much for sharing all your knowledge with us. Thank you for being with
Thank
us.
you, Claudia, for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, both of you. And before we go on to the closing meditation, I'll just share the screen to do the announcements. Okay, so as all of you know that we are approaching the last Sunday of the month. So let's try to enhance and enrich this experience of sweetness by going into the silence retreat. Oh, that's wonderful. I just realized that it's more of a live image now. So within 12 hours from now, we'll be having this silence retreat. So it will be late evening for the West Coast and morning for India. Please join us. And these are all events. These silence retreats are based on the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, which have been given through the medium, we say, of Dadi Gulzar. So we have really an excellent experience of silence. And let's try to immerse more into the sweetness of this silence. So that's 12 hours from now. And yes, we are approaching our platinum episode. So a big congrats to all of you all, even the participants, interpreters, each one of, including me, that we have come up to this. It's 3 years we are completing now, and we have our two beautiful coordinators, National Coordinator of Canada, Brother Eric, and the Regional Coordinator of Latin America, Brother Ken, both very senior Rajogis, sharing their experience on this beautiful value of harmony the next Saturday. And again, to join us with us for the workshop, the first time we are having two speakers in the workshop. So it's Sister Moira from Argentina, the South America, and Sister Anjani from the East Coast, New York. That will be the following Saturday after that. And this is our elegant calendar, I must say, of September. And that's October. October is a very auspicious occasion for the Values for Life series, because we began our series in October 2020, the height of COVID pandemic, which was going on, and this series was started that time. So we have a few birthdays, which we'll be celebrating of the series and the workshops as well. So take a deep breath. We'll be announcing that later, not so soon. And these are our websites and the emails. Please feel free to share your feedback on this, and we'll be sending you all the review materials. Thank you for the ones who have shared, the new participants. We have taken down your addresses, the email addresses and numbers as well, if you've given. And all this information, the workshops and the episodes are available on these following links. If you can click on them, or even on the Vihasa India YouTube channel, everything is available online. So with this, I'll just stop sharing the screen, and we now move on to the meditation, the closing meditation with Brother Dev. Over to you. Thank you.
Om Shanti. So let's take a few moments to comprehend all that we have heard, letting the intellect process, taking time to allow the experience to be formed inside. As I sit in silence, I visualize myself as this soul, inner being of light. And this light is so pure within. My natural nature of purity within is filled with good feelings, no impurities. It is full of sweetness. And I visualize that inner beauty filled with sweetness is radiating to all aspects of my life. It touches the hearts of the people around me. Through me being thoughtful, through my spontaneity, through my innocence, with my sweet words, with my gentle drishti and sweet smile. It is as though the subtle rays of light filled with sweetness are reaching people around me in my relationships. And I let this be my natural nature. And along with this, I remind myself my source, my spiritual parent is that mountain of sweetness. The one who sees me and says to me, sweet child, sweet soul. With the feelings of that sweetness from him, I too radiate sweetness. Om Shanti.
so much, Brother Dev, once again. And it's a sweet request from the participants that if we can have a quick photograph. So over to you, Sister Anu. Yes.
It is a beautiful feeling. Thank you so much. And yes, everybody looks forward to the photograph. I know Brother Rajesh sends, but sometimes some are missing in there. So we'll request you to switch on your video so that we can all have this beautiful photograph and this moment memorable with Brother Dave. So everyone, few seconds more. People are still opening. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much. Have a sweet day, sweet month, sweet year ahead.
Thank you so much. Very sweet, very nice. It was really nice.
Thank you.